Hello everyone, welcome to today's water cooler chat, where we talk about all things Livepeer, whether it's orchestrating, delegating, transcoding, developing, or anything to do with Livepeer. We are here to answer some questions and ask some questions and help out the community. So today we have an agenda ahead of us. We have Thom from the Livepeer core dev team, who is doing a Q&A about VOD, video on demand. This is an upgrade that happened not too long ago, and so yeah, we'll start off by doing introductions, and then we'll jump straight into the Q&A. So I'm Titan. We'll skip topics. We can wrap around to topics later, but I think today is going to be just all about VOD. So we're going to start with just introductions. So I'm Titan, been running the Titan node Orchestrator since 2021. Transmental, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey, I'm Zach. I work with Xenon, building out that application, and actually we're working on VODs right now. So this is awesome.
Very cool. Thank you for joining us. Jonas, would you like to introduce yourself?
Good evening, guys. I'm Jonas from Pixelfield. We're a group of friends in UK, and we've been running an orchestrator since September last year. So yeah, hello everyone.
Very cool. Thank you for joining us. Chase Media, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey everyone, it's Chase with Chase Media. Been running the node for about a year and keen to hear what happens this morning with the VOD. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Mike Zuper, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey guys, we can't hear you, Mike, or not very well.
Mike, you're cutting out real bad. What I'll do is I will come back to you when you get some better internet or something. I don't know what's going on over there. His transcoder's taking up all the internet bandwidth, so we'll give him props for that. Ben with Authority Null, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey everyone, Ben here. Been running Authority Null Orchestrator for over a year now, and working on the video miner pool as well. Good to be here.
Thanks for joining us. Papa Bear, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure, I am Papa Bear, and I have been running Solar Farm Orchestrator since July of 2021. So I don't know how long that is, but I'm sure there's a bunch of smart people here that can do the math on that. Yeah, that's my introduction. Hi guys.
Very good. I think it's about 560 days or something like that. I don't know. It's about a year and a half.
I trust you.
Well, I don't trust me. I don't know if that's you. I was just guessing. But thanks for joining us, Papa Bear. For Kunzman, would you like to introduce yourself? Yeah.
Hi, Joey with Fort Kunzman node here. Been running Fort Kunzman Orchestrator for, oh gosh, year and a half, 2 years now. I also own and operate the community Arbitrum node service that's supported by the Livepeer Grant Committee. So,
very cool. Thank you for joining us. Thom, I'll skip you because we'll come around to the introduction. Chris, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, hello, good afternoon or good evening, everybody. My name is Christian. I am the co-founder of NifGen, and NifGen is a platform for video creators to better monetize their content, and we're looking into integrating Livepeer to allow our video creators to do live streaming on the platform.
Very cool. I like it. Thank you for joining us again, Chris. Great to see you. And we have Decent Danos. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, right. Cheers. I'm Danos, band from Australia. I'm a dinosaur here with you guys. I've been around since probably late 2017. Content creator, host, self-host, tri-national DJ, King's Fingers Radio, KNGRDB. And yeah, we just mess around with you guys. We pretty much test you to your limits, come back and give you guys some information, run some theories and stuff, and check out who's doing what, where. And if you're a hub for content creation, then we're probably right on your back, checking you out.
Very cool. Thank you so much for joining us, Dan. And yeah, great to have you stick around all these years. That is a long time to be hanging out with Livepeer. So great to see you. All right, today we got a Q&A session with Thom with Livepeer. And Thom, why don't you kick us off by introducing who you are and what you do with Livepeer?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Thom. I'm based in the UK. I've been at Livepeer for almost 1 year now, mostly leading the network video team, which is anything to do with like transcoding, orchestrating, but not the blockchain side of stuff. So focusing on the video side. And most recently, for the past 3 to 6 months, I've been working on rebuilding our VOD pipeline and trying to like focus on productionizing it, making it scalable, kind of get all the features we'd want that we didn't have in the old pipeline, and just with a particular emphasis on Web3, building something that we can add Web3 stuff to around it. So like storage support, bits and pieces like that. So yeah, I'm here to answer whatever questions people have about the VOD product.
Very cool. So I'll kick it off real quick. You mentioned you're reworking the VOD pipeline. What can you tell us what the pipeline was before and what it is now?
Sure. So it's a little bit just kind of where it's located almost. So previously it was hacked together in Studio. So like the more over on the livepeer.com web side of things. And we've been moving it over to become a first-class citizen in the Catalyst project, which is like the idea of a decentralized media server. So like we already have the decentralized transcoding, which are like the orchestrators that everyone here is running, and it's trying to build out the next layer of the stack. So in theory, a node that someone could run that contains the Mist media server, broadcaster, and now a bunch of VOD functionality as well.
Okay, so you're moving it from the studio, which is self-hosted by Livepeer, to Catalyst, which is the decentralized open source version of this pipeline. Is that correct?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, great. Based on that, I want to open up to the community now. Who wants to jump in with any questions? I know Papa Bear, you had a few.
I'd like to jump in really quickly. This would be like a sort of a replacement, like an all-in-one replacement for things like, Monoserver or Nginx, RTMP, RTMPS, that sort of thing, right?
The Catalyst product as a whole, yeah, that's the idea. So it deals with all the RTMP ingest, delegating to the network, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, an all-in-one media server box.
Lovely stuff.
Well,
Yeah, I would love I'll jump in. A little overview on where VOD is at right now and what kind of applications are using VOD would be nice to know from an orchestrator standpoint.
Yeah, that's a great question. Look, in terms of where it is at the moment, it's shipped. It's all of our. If you go to livepeer.com and upload a video, it's all going through the new system now. We're just about to launch. So we're outputting HLS at the moment, the same as for the live streams, but we're just about to start outputting MP4s as well, transcoded MP4 files. In terms of who's using it, so we're seeing a bunch of different applications. There's a lot of interest in like the Web3 social space that's quite exciting. So like Lens and people like that playing around with it. And yeah, we've been seeing pretty linearly increasing traffic as well over the past, since we launched it. So that's exciting. And what we're kind of hoping is, I think a lot of these projects are still in the stage of just trying out integrating it and seeing how it works. But we're hoping over the next couple of months, we're going to start seeing some pretty sizable usage from some of these Web3 socials.
Awesome. Are you guys getting some good feedback from these applications of stuff that can be improved or tweaked or changed?
Yeah. So there's been a lot of focus on reliability, obviously. That's been really good. Like we've been making some good improvements there, pushing it up towards like being what you'd expect from a VOD product, right? Like 100% reliable for the inputs that you'd expect to see coming in. So like for MP4s, MOV files, like supporting anything that comes off a relatively modern phone. That's been a lot of the work we're doing is around that support on the ingest side. And yeah, we've been getting really good feedback. A lot of these companies are wanting even more integrations in terms of the storage. So at the moment we support IPFS and Arweave, but we're just about to launch like a tight ingest and output integration with Web3 storage as well, which is IPFS under the hood, but like an attempt at productionizing IPFS to make it more usable for actually serving content like video.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I had a question around that because IPFS is like this wonderful protocol, but I can't imagine it being used as an actual content delivery network because just of the nature of it. What is this a solution you're looking to use IPFS under the hood, but also build some sort of like CDN or some sort of ability for high availability of these videos? Like, what's that look like?
Yeah. So you're right. IPFS is like from working with it over the past couple of months. Generally, in terms of just being able to reliably pull an arbitrary file from it, not that great. And so yeah, like there are a couple of approaches we're taking. One is, so like I said, to kind of partner with some of these companies putting layers on top of it, which are then acting almost like a CDN. So they're offering paid services to make IPFS more reliable. And then the other approach is like to offer almost like a transparent layer in front of IPFS for playback on the Livepeer side. So you put like an IPFS content ID into the Livepeer player, and behind the scenes that'll go off. And if Livepeer's seen that before, that'll be cached in like one of our. It will have been ingested through Livepeer as well and been cached in one of our nodes. And then rather than going to IPFS for that file, like if it's already gone through that process, the player will go off to Livepeer and pull it from there instead. So a lot of the stuff we've been doing is around that as well, like looking at ways to kind of make it provably like this provable chain where even though you're not pulling directly from IPFS, the player can still prove that, hey, like this is an identical file to the content ID I'm trying to pull.
Oh, very cool. And so is that something Livepeer Inc. is building out, or is that some just like a is that supposed to be a decentralized protocol, or like or how is that just a centralized service at this point?
Yeah, that, at the moment, so a lot of like this is going to be a pattern for a lot of this stuff, I think. So at the moment, that's a centralized service, and we're doing like that lets us iterate quickly, right, and build things quickly, and then we're going to be doing like a progressive, I guess, decentralization model of slowly. Once we've proved out these things and proved they work and there's demand, pushing that into like the open source Catalyst node and having it just become a feature of Catalyst rather than of Livepeer Inc.
Definitely. Very similar to how the graph works and how they're currently into a big, massive decentralization push right now with opening up their network. So yeah, I suspect we'll be similar to that, which is very cool.
Yeah, exactly. Multigraph. Yeah, they're sending me pretty regular emails telling me not to panic about the whole decentralization thing. But yeah, same model as them.
Yeah, which is great. Great. Okay, I've written down like 5 questions, so I'm going to start hopping into them. So, are VOD streams sent in the same fashion as live streams, or do they have their own pipeline and work order?
So the workflow at the moment is an MP4 file comes into Catalyst. We segment it into chunks of, I think at the moment, 6 seconds, but that might change and we might bump that to maybe 10. Once we have those source segments, we then push those in parallel through different transcoders. So using the HTTP API to the broadcaster, that broadcaster that's sitting on the local Catalyst node, we push in these chunks in parallel. At the moment, I think we've just got a parallelism factor of 2. So we work through those source segments, pushing 2 into the broadcaster at once, and those then get sent out to transcoders. But the idea is, like, as we prove this out and get more confident in it, we can increase that factor and begin like really delivering some good transcode performance by splitting it between more orchestrators.
Is that parallelization live now? Because last time we had a water cooler chat and talked about VODs, it was said that it wasn't being parallel, or there wasn't a parallelization.
Yeah, that's live. I'm not sure when that water cooler was, but that's live. We're doing
Just,
two at a time.
just a caveat: Hunter is not the expert on this. He popped in here and gave the best knowledge that he could, but he did caveat that he was not the VOD master. So anything that Thom says overwrites what Hunter says. So just
Okay,
yeah,
got
just,
it. Thank you.
no worries. No, because we were pounding Hunter with questions, so he was doing the best he could. Okay, so that actually jumps right into my next question. So, what you've said is because we had this conversation last week about single orchestrator versus multi orchestrator, and it was actually about quality. We noticed that if you simultaneously send it out to multiple orchestrators, you're going to get the video back much faster, like really quickly. But what happens about the quality of the segments between them? You know, how do we monitor that, or how do we adjust for that?
Yeah, that is a good question. So I think it's going to come down to just us beginning to tweak some of the transcoding parameters. I think in general it's worked because we did a whole like prototyping stage for this, and it worked better than I expected. Like we see fewer really noticeable quality fluctuations between different transcoders. But that's going to be something we work on over the coming few months as well. Is trying to figure out the best way to minimize that as much as possible. And yeah, that's another reason for now we're just keeping that parallelism down to try and reduce the surface area of transcoders we're hitting for a given video.
So is there any type of like in the selection process? Because I know some of that stuff, or at least going back in my memory, that there's been some stuff added that does it detect what type of hardware is? I mean, I guess there is when it's testing when you like launch a transcoder, it checks to see like what kind of formats you can handle and things like that. Is there anything that is considered when it's sending stuff out to like try and match that, or is it just kind of a random thing at this point?
Well, there isn't. Yeah, that's a good point. There isn't at the moment, but yeah, that's one of the things we'd like to try and introduce. So yeah, at the moment we're just doing like all we can do is raw capability checks. So can it produce what we're trying to produce? Can it ingest what we're trying to ingest? But yeah, that's one of the paths we want to go down, is trying to match those up so we end up transcoding across similar, if not the same, hardware.
Gotcha.
In that, okay, so that being said, for similar and harder transcoding software, how does that look when it comes to like older GPUs? Like, I guess I don't want to go down this rabbit hole because I have a lot of different questions, but just like, do you see that being a problem in the future? Is trying to differentiate between different models of GPUs?
Yeah, so like I said, we haven't even across models, we haven't seen a ton of variance in the output, but I think also like people on the network are using different hardware, but like there's a lot of fairly similar cards out there. I think, yeah, like obviously the longer we're going and the more variance in terms of age of hardware across the network, like the longer this goes on, then yeah, but potentially that's going to become an interesting factor. Trying to deal with like if we have 7-year-old cards and 1-year-old cards. It's going to be something we have to take into account, I think.
Yeah, and I think it'll be more interesting as the newer cards come out and how different they actually are in quality. Because right now, you probably just, if someone were to play you either a 1070 or a 3070 transcoding, you, by the eye, you probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Like, so
yeah.
Okay, my next question was around multi-pass transcoding. So, based on this segmentation of handing it out, and what you get is really quick speed, right? You could probably transcode an hour-long video in arguably 10, 20 seconds if you were to hand it out to the entire network quickly. So you would probably get speed faster than your upload speed of the video if you did that. But you sacrifice the idea of multipass transcoding. Is that important to the network, or are we not really into multipass?
Yeah, that is interesting as well. I would say so. Yeah, I would guess my answer to a lot of this stuff is going to be the main. I'd say the main segment we've been seeing interest in, and one of the main areas we're focusing on at the moment is short form, like social media video, like particularly TikTok style short videos, right? Where people are going to be mostly watching on mobile, mostly uploading source content that isn't that great quality from mobile, and so kind of with that as a focus rather than studios producing like 4K 2 hour long films. I think we can get away with a little bit more in terms of some of this stuff. We can be a little bit like rough around the edges, just because of the target market.
Right. The people that want multipass transcoding probably own the hardware themselves, or something to that degree. What people want for a scalable, large, decentralized network is probably speed and cost.
Right, exactly.
Which Livepeer could probably really accelerate in. So, and we probably don't need to multipass like your 6 second Snapchat thing, right? Might not be.
Right. Yeah.
Well, on a large scale, though, don't you get? Can't you get better quality with less pixels if you do? I mean, if you're working on a big scale, it may not. I mean, on a small scale, it may not seem like a big deal, but if you're able to get, do something at like 200K versus 300, you scale that up, the delivery costs on that are going to be, a third less.
Yeah,
So-
that's true. So, yeah, it's like whether you want to optimize for ingest and transcoding costs versus delivery costs.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Another question I have is about the profiles of VOD. So, are VOD typically the 480, 720, or how many video profiles do we expect from VOD, and what are the inputs that we expect? Is it always usually 1080? Is it? I saw many months ago, maybe not many weeks ago at least, lots of different profiles coming in, like 2K and like 2.5K. Are these the VOD? Is this what we can expect of VOD, or what are you seeing?
Yeah. So at the moment, within Catalyst, I mean, I can point people to the source code if they're interested, but our algorithm is really dumb at the moment for the initial version. So it's the 720 and I think a 480. You're right, and then we try and match the source resolution as well. So for higher quality sources, it means you'll always get a fairly high quality transcode output as well. But yeah, that was just kind of to get us off the ground. We want to try and be smarter in the future and do more based on the input quality. Yeah, so at the moment for VOD, it's that 720, 480, and plus source quality. And then I think for very low quality inputs, we have a slightly different algorithm that'll just be source quality and then maybe like 240 or one really low quality output as well.
Great. And when you say source quality, you meaning it's pushing back a transcoded version that is of the same bit rate that came in.
Same, yeah. So same width and height, and I think bit rate as well.
Right. And so the idea is that it's a smaller file, but the same size.
Well, if it's the same bit rate, then it wouldn't be a smaller file, but I could see it like transcoding it down, same resolution, but to it.
We pass that in as a max bit rate, right? So it might actually be less. But yeah, like that's also about normalizing the file, right? And not just passing
just
back
to put it,
in terms of
right,
playback,
to put it
like
all in the
whatever.
same format.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry to pull us back a little bit. I just have one follow-up question about the parallelization of the segment. So right now you said that the factor is of 2. So does that mean if there's 300 segments, then the transcoding time would roughly take the time that it would take to transcode 150 segments? As in,
That's right.
it only goes out to 2 different orchestrators?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
Following up on that, since it's VOD and it's not coming in live, it can still come out faster because it's not waiting for the new video to be pushed through, right? Or
Yeah, so as fast as the transcoder is giving us segments back, we're pushing the next one in.
right. So it's really it should be more than a factor of two in a best case scenario, even though it's just going to two.
Yeah, factor of 2 relative to transcode time.
Right.
In that case, actually, I have a question about. I don't know if you know much about the benchmark, Thom, but is the benchmarking process does it feed in the stream like you would a live stream, where every 2 seconds it gets sent in, or does it feed in all segments exactly back to back so that when you're moving on to the next one, it like do you know how the benchmarking process works?
Yeah, I'm not sure about the benchmarking process, but yeah, we do just feed them in back to back. So as soon as we finish streaming the last byte of a segment from the transcoder, we then start pushing in the start of the next one.
Because I wonder how that affects us setting up our max session limits, because that is technically one session, but that might really overload our GPUs based on some assumptions we've made in the past. Because like I know that if you can transcode a segment twice as fast as real time, and say the first segment comes in, you have two streams. Here's an example. You have two streams, and you can transcode them twice as fast. One segment comes in on second 1, and you're able to do it in say half a second, and then the next half second you get the other segment, and you can do it in that half second. And so if you were to do a VOD version of that, it's one consistent back to back, but it's actually two live streams because your GPU is finishing the work and then it's idle, but in the idle time it can be doing more work. So in that sense, live streams you can actually like do more because there's actually breaks, whereas VOD there isn't that. So I just wonder how us as when we benchmark and it says my GPU can do 20. I wonder if that's including that. Well, I think it is including that the distance. I don't know. I'm just kind of curious about that.
My guess is if the benchmark is all local, so I think it's just feeding them through like the same way that
Like a
VOD
VOD
would be. I believe so. I mean,
I sure hope so. It would be nice to know that if I can do 20 benchmark, that means I can do 20 benchmark VOD, and then live streams would be technically easier.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah. So,
or if anything, it should be the other way. You should maybe even be able to do more because you're not having to wait for a live stream. I mean, the whole thing should kind of it's already created, but I guess it's still sending them in segments. So segments is going to slow you down.
right.
I think it's just a matter of idle time, really. Like if you're getting a VOD, you won't have any idle time, right? It'll just continuously keep bytes coming in, but it doesn't change the fact that it's a stream or a segment, right? It just means that they're concurrently executing, or serially executing. Whereas in the other scenario, it would be, there could be some, delay between segments. When the first segment came, then a new segment comes in, there might be, some delay potentially. So I don't really think it's significantly different.
Yeah, I have another question about the video profiles. So you said that the VOD always returns back the source file or the source resolution. That would it suggests that actually VOD transcoding would be the most profitable for orchestrators because we charge based on video returned or pixels returned. Is that the reason maybe for the price difference, or like how does that work, you think?
That is the reason. So when we was playing around with a beta version of this, we saw big spikes in terms of cost, and because of exactly that, because with the live stream we're not doing that. We're using the actual source material itself in the like we pass through that to the output, and so because we're transcoding for VOD, we are seeing. I think we would think it would be more profitable for orchestrators.
Interesting. And you mentioned
That's music to our ears right there. Say that again for us. More profitable for. Oh, we love that. Say that.
Yeah,
We
can you
love it.
spell that out? Letter for letter. More profitable. Okay, that's
uh,
good.
when you talk about
Sorry.
the smartphone resolutions, are we transcoding that currently? Is that something that gets done in the background without us having to do anything? You know, like the the up and down. What is it? The not the 4:3, but the 16:9 or whatever the ratio is.
Oh, I see.
Do we
Yeah, so
transcode that, or do we have to worry about that at all?
no, you don't need to worry about that. And we're not doing anything in terms of manipulating videos for display on mobile. We're just doing the transcoding and then leaving it up to the like the client, whoever's developing the mobile app, to make it look good on the screen.
Right, but
So if you upload a big landscape video, we're not going to do any cropping or try and get it into mobile resolution.
right. So we are just sending back the exact same, screen dimensions as they're sending in.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And therefore, anyone can send it any screen dimension they want. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Music to my ears. I like it.
Yeah, ideally everyone wouldn't go and start pushing through like 100,000 by 100,000 videos to up their pixel count, but yeah, that's what we're doing.
No, but I'm doubling down on lens protocol, and right now on Orb, which is the mobile version of Lens, it's all smartphone resolutions, right? And so, I don't know if they use Livepeer for their transcoding, but that is a huge amount of videos is up and down smartphone style video dimensions, right? So if we can handle that and that it just they get back exactly what they want in a smaller bit rate, then that's exactly what they're looking for, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Great. How could people get started easily with VOD with Livepeer? Where would they go?
From what perspective, developing an app or just uploading some video? Or...
Both.
Okay. So in terms of developing an app, we've got an SDK that I think is pretty well documented. Once we release the MP4 support, hopefully at some point this week, that'll get documented as well. And I think once we have that MP4 support, we're going to also release a load of documentation around creating one of these like short form video social app type experiences as well. I mean, if you just want to upload video and play around, then livepeer.com is probably the best way.
Very cool. Any last questions for Thom? Anyone want to jump in?
Yeah, if I wanted to. Sorry, guys.
I'll wait till all the VOD stuff's done, then I just have one.
No, I just had a general question. If I wanted to spin up this new Mist stack, Catalyst stack, I've used the, maybe last summer, a while ago when they were really early building. Is this something that I can pull down and start running and using, configuring, setting up myself?
In theory, yes. So you can go to Livepeer, GitHub, Livepeer, Catalyst. I think we've decided to focus on just like getting it into a really good place ourselves that we're happy with, and then I think we're going to go back and figure out how to document it and how to package it a little more nicely for other people to run. So you will be, I guess, a little bit on your own trying to run it at the moment. But
it's the same software you're using, right? It's not like you guys have some special version that works and this stuff doesn't work, right?
That's right. Yeah. We haven't. It's all open. It's all
okay.
Yeah. That's
exactly
what we're doing. But yeah, you'll just be in terms of documentation a little on your own.
We like swimming in open waters. Don't worry.
So
I had a quick question.
Go ahead, John.
Oh, sorry. Regarding the connection between Catalyst and the Livepeer broadcaster, is that done over RTMP protocol? And is the keyframe interval any different because it's VOD?
Good question. So it happens locally on the Catalyst node. So we have Mist instance there, and also the broadcaster sitting on that node as well. So it happens over HTTP locally. So Catalyst API will get a request coming in. So Catalyst API is like the API that we expose that like livepeer.com will call to kick off a VOD ingest. So we get a request into that API saying, like, I want to transcode the video at this URL. We'll go and pull that video, give it to Mist to split into segments based on keyframes. So we'll aim for, I think, like I said, 6-second segments, but that's based on keyframes.
Okay.
And then, the broadcaster will then just push those over the network to transcode it.
That's good to know.
Is this stuff documented in the Catalyst docs? I noticed the Catalyst documentation was giving me an error on the website.
Nah, he said they didn't focus on that's something they're coming back to. So that's what he was saying. For me, I'd be in open waters doing it by myself.
Okay.
So.
Is there any way that you could send me the trigger for this in Catalyst? Because we're building directly on top of Catalyst, and we kind of like scrap together our own version of VOD, but like we would like to take advantage of the like real version that supports parallelization. So
so I'll throw a link in the water cooler side chat, but Livepeer/Catalyst is the main repo, and then the API I was just talking about that has the kickoff point is Livepeer/Catalyst API.
Cool, thanks.
So my unrelated to VOD question, I'll just jump in, is because I believe you had something to do with this, because it was a request I made a while back about putting better error logging into the logs for the orchestrators. And ever since 0.37, there's this new error that shows up that says well, I don't know if it's an error, but it's a transcoding session ended by broadcaster, and it just comes up all the time, even when there's no session coming in. Any insight onto what that's telling us, or what's going on there behind the scenes?
So I think introduced as part of the stuff that was introduced to let a broadcaster deliberately close a session rather than always having to wait for timeouts. I'm not sure why you would be seeing that if you don't have any sessions, though.
I mean, it seems like, it's definitely a bunch of us are seeing them, and it's a regular thing. It doesn't seem to cause any problems. I was just wondering, is that like what was going on behind there? If you have any insight on that.
Like I said, that was the intention, but I'm not sure why. I don't have any good reason why you'd be seeing that outside of transcoding sessions.
Okay, maybe I'll follow up with a GitHub issue.
Please, if you raise an issue, we can try and look.
Thank you.
Okay, any last questions for Thom? Very cool. Thom, thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule. And I know you're a busy guy, and I know it's late there. So thank you so much for joining us and answering some questions about VOD. When the spikes happened, or when the announcement of VOD got launched like 2 weeks ago, we've been just buzzing to get some answers. So I know over the last couple of weeks here, I know we've been doing some digging of our own, but I'm glad you came in and clarified some things and helped us understand a little bit about what you guys are working on. So very, very cool to have you, and I will let you go and finish your evening. So once again, from the community, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Thanks for the great questions. If you think of anything after this, you can ping me on Discord. And VOD is our focus at the moment. It's my team's focus, and it's going to be for at least the next few months. So I'll try and jump on one of these again in a few weeks' time and see if anyone's got follow-up questions.
Very cool.
Thanks, Thom.
Thanks for joining us. All right. Well, that was good. It's always good to have Thom on because he brings some real deep knowledge about what's happening on that side of things. So it's great to have him. Does anyone have any comments or questions about the VOD just in general that doesn't include Thom?
Has anyone seen some VOD come into their nodes? I don't really know to track to see it, but
would we know?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm curious about.
Um,
But
I
for
used up
now,
all of our credits. King's News Radio used our 1,000 credits up, but we could do that in what 72 hours or something silly. So, yeah, we throw some video at you guys if you guys want us to like flag it or let somebody know like what to do with it. Then we will.
are you doing VOD or just like live streams?
We're just throwing streams out, but again, if you need anything in particular, just let us know, and then we'll get you with whatever you want. Like we can do on demand, whatever. Like we're obviously fairly on demand video as it is. Just flip the thing. Obviously, being decentralized, decent's on the front of my name. And I try to do what I can do for anybody that's giving it a go. You get involved in some of these, places like visualizers and things, audio visualizers, and you go to them and they're using 20-odd-year-old licenses and still fighting over things that dinosaurs did back then. You're just offering them a video on demand if they need to do a test of some particular code or some particular stream that they want to see. Maybe they want to see MP3 or AAC or something like that, but they don't see it. They need to visualize the crash or the error or the issue that's happening. It's a funny world. So yeah, I try to be here and taking demands on a needs basis.
Awesome. Well,
Dan,
definitely let you know.
we'd love to get you streaming on Xenon.
Yeah, I mean, hit me up. I'm fairly open. Just hit me up with where you want me to be and I'll get there. Like we just threw this out to it was Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, our own RTMP, which is, IPTV on demand in VLC. No overhead from anyone else, like Twitch and their grip on Tuvalu and things, which is a tiny little sovereign country of its own out in the ocean, middle of the ocean. These places are important to us. We have our own .tv and things. We can definitely help to, decentralize, democratize, and help sovereigntize. I don't know. I know it's not a word, but people's data on this level, video, audio, these are important. These are our voices. These are our faces at that core level for me. I put my face on this. I put my voice on this. I'm not particularly active when it comes to like droney content. I'd prefer to be here now with a group of people that are real focused on an actual issue or a solutions rather than trying to, fish and filter through anybody. That's up to everybody else. I'm really just here for that on-demand concept, very much so.
Yeah, I would really highly recommend the Xenon app. I stream to there all the time, and yeah, it's just like another platform, decentralized Web3. Transmental is one of the people working on it, so I highly recommend it.
Good stuff. Thank you.
Cool. Do we want to go through topics real quick and cover things that we want to cover this week? Is that a good idea?
Sure.
Okay, let's do it. All right, let's go through topics. I'll go through everyone. I know it's a bit much to go through everyone again, but I will. So we'll start with myself. Yeah, my topic is just a bit of an announcement. I released the Titan Node Pool Achievements NFTs. So on the Titan Node pool, there's you get NFTs for achieving certain things in the pool. Been working on it for a bit now and learning a lot about NFTs and how to interact with smart contracts. So that's been pretty fun. Big shout out to Varies for his little Python script on how to query the graph. I used it for the graph and for lens. So that was super helpful. So anyway, just a bit of an announcement. Pretty excited about. Yeah, we'll go on Transmental. Any topics you want to cover?
I'm here for the ride. I'm super. That was awesome to talk to Thom about VODs. So, yeah, I'm happy that we have parallelization because that was a little concerning on the last call with them there.
Yeah, I would say so. I'm glad to hear that we're actually utilizing Livepeer's like real not edge case, real benefit of having such a large distribution of network to speed up the work rather than we'll just hand off one VOD job to one GPU. This doesn't seem like a good use of our capabilities. So that's good to hear. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. Imagine being able to transcode an hour-long VOD in 10 seconds or something. I don't know if that's possible, but it would be very interesting to see that happen. I think this would be a pretty killer app. in a sense.
Jumping in for like an analogy on the parallelization factor. If you run the video and audio media concept against previous issues that we've had, I mean, look at, VCR, VHS and beta wars and the format wars we've had, DVD versus HD DVD versus Blu-ray and all of these things, Xbox versus PS4, non-parity exclusives and things. If you run this concept against those and you realize that the democratized form of audio video communications is here and there's a hub of people that are pouring from the outside of everywhere in to then bring it back outside. It's a donut. Like, I can't remember what this shape is in 3D 4D, but you can't visualize it, you can't actually see it. It's the type of thing that you can only feel and you can only actually go and touch on every level that it's on. It's very interesting when you see what's happening here at Livepeer compared to what happened historically, maybe even 30 years ago, when people were, what happened with Libera and IRC chat recently and things. Like, it's incredible, the federalization of audio video that's happening here, while we have things like Blue Sky, people like Elon Musk buying platform soapboxes, making moves similar to Rupert Murdoch. As an Australian, this is important to me. News Corp is very important. This person represents my country and has a stranglehold on my country. I'm here able to talk to you guys on a layer that's free and equal, but I'm also protected by that fact as well. And that's important. It's very important to be talking about these issues, how we can democratize or potentially, use as a defense structure, or you can flip that around and take that however you like, media, because we're being bombarded with too much of it at the moment. So that parallelization can be parallel. You can put it into its own line, and then you can run another one next to it with all the format wars and all of the issues we've had previously. It's quite incredible to see what's happened here in the past couple of weeks and to have this chat. It's really exciting.
Man, that's like the most inspirational thing I've heard. That's amazing. That was great. I appreciate your input. It's great to hear. We'll continue on. Chase, do you have any topics you'd like to cover or questions?
Hi everyone. No topics today, thank you. I thought it was very beneficial learning about the VOD, so appreciate that. Thanks, Twitter.
Very cool. Thank you. Mike Super, topics or questions?
Yeah, probably a sensitive topic, but I'm going to bring it up. I just, we saw Doug's announcement in the Discord. I just didn't know how folks were feeling about that and what their thoughts were. I've kind of got shaken a little bit when I first heard it, but still not quite sure I have, really grasped the full context of what it actually means. But I'm just curious if others have any thoughts on that topic.
Yeah, you took the topic right out of my mouth. I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah, let's jump into that a little bit, because it is publicly known what Doug had mentioned. Obviously, he put it out there. I have some speculations on it. I can probably share them if people would like to hear. But otherwise, who would like to go first on their speculation, or at least any comments they want to make about it, how they're feeling about it, or whatever.
Yeah, it's hard to say, really. It's pretty rough. I really liked all the people that were on board, who did get put off the team or laid off. I don't know. I guess it makes sense if the core team needs to huddle in and focus on the product. But I don't really know how to feel about it.
Yeah, I'm similar, right? In terms of the people side of it, it sucks. But at the same time, protocol's got to survive. There's got to, but I'd like to better understand, like, what it looked like that led up to this situation. And then, like, how is the renewed strategy, going to give that runway again? Like, he talked about having runway and stuff, but, like, what caused this? Like, I know there's a lot of growth, a lot of opportunities, and the bull market changed a lot of things. But, like, what happens from here? Like, how does the new strategy counter those forces that led us to this point? You know what I mean? Just That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think in general, like this is pretty typical in tech companies. Or at least really any company with large amount of people that are building things. There is an ebb and flow to layoffs because, um, as you've seen with like large companies like Facebook and Amazon and these kind of companies, instead of laying people off as they see fit, you actually do mass layoffs, and it's kind of like ripping the band-aid off. And the idea is you don't want to do two mass layoffs. You don't want to have to do a round of layoffs and then 6 months later do another round of layoffs. Like it hits morale really bad apparently. And so the idea is you're supposed to kind of wait till you're at the bottom, do the mass layoff, and then everyone knows that's still sticking around goes, okay, that was it. Now I can move on with being hyper productive, and it's a renewing and refreshing of the team, the cash flows, the books, and as well as the morale. So this isn't. I would say that this is not an anomaly. This is like pretty regular style of doing layoffs. Um, so, and what'll happen is if they start seeing traction again, they'll rehire people. Um, so it's just the style of layoffs in tech companies. So I'm not too worried about like the prospect of like how it's been done. I think it's actually very typical what they've done. Um, but in terms of the blow, yeah, I mean, I talked to a few people who are no longer with Livepeer Inc. And I don't know, there was still a lot of optimism and a lot of thanking of Livepeer for the opportunity, and a lot of them have already moved on to new things that they wanted to do already. And there was actually some people that had mentioned that they already had things lined up much prior to this layoff. Like I don't know if they were given notice or that it was happening, or if they were like, I know a lot of people were already itching to do their own thing. They had their ideas, their sprouts, their things they wanted to work on. So I know some people that already had plans before this had happened. So I wonder if there was already a succession plan done by the team for each person, because I know some people are already like day one, they already had their new website and brand launched, right? For what they wanted to do. And I was like, okay, so I I don't think it was as cutthroat as some other companies where. So I don't know. Hopefully there was a bit of more follow up and humanity involved with it. So
Yeah, I guess generally you wouldn't want to badmouth the company you were working for. Could probably backfire.
yeah, no. In fact, I think a lot of them used Livepeer as the stepping stone to getting into new Web3 projects, right? Like I think a lot of them realize that, and so like they're doubling down on Web3 just in a new area or of somewhere that's of interest, right? Like I said, I've talked to a few privately, and um, it's not it's not, I wouldn't call it a blessing, but it's like it's not a negative. It wasn't a negative thing. So
Well, I really, like I said, the people side of it's always sensitive. No matter which way you slice and dice, it's going to be hard to talk about that. Some people are fortunate, some people aren't. Like, it's going to be a mixed bag. But I think, for me, when I started thinking about it, it was like, okay, ignoring the people side of it, like the first thing that came to my head, well, what happened if Livepeer Inc. collapses? Let's say they run out of money next year and they're done, and then what happens to the protocol? That was the first thing that came to my head, right? Um, just I don't think that the Livepeer Inc. is going to collapse next year or anything like that. I don't know, but obviously, the protocol's here and it's still going. But then you see, like on the Explorer, there was a, 1 point some million unbonded, right? And it was like, oh, and our inflation rates like dropped, or our participation rates dropped lower than I've seen in a while. So, is something brewing, or is it just, nothing, no worries?
I've I've never been more excited for the upside, to be honest. Like this is exactly the fear that I love in markets, because that's exactly when you know that you're either gonna do really well or like you actually like what you're doing. Those are kind of your only two options, which is both good things. So, but as for Livepeer Inc., I do think they're well positioned, and I think Doug and Eric and the team there have clear long-term goals. They've shared it with us in the past, and I think this is the exact amount of shedding they need to do to conserve cash to redeploy later, right? Like I think what they're doing, it makes sense.
Do we know if Livepeer Inc. is currently making money? Are they profitable?
I believe that's not to anyone's public knowledge. So I
Okay.
wouldn't be able to tell you. I mean,
based on what we see on our side, it doesn't seem like Livepeer is making any money, right?
well, they're earning cash, but is the question, are they earning more cash than they're spending the cash? Right?
How are they earning cash? I'm curious.
Well, they charge a certain amount for transcoding and services, and we on the network pay slightly less than that, or charge slightly less than that. So they take a spread, unless like the problem is it changes, it fluctuates in ETH price. If ETH price is low, they're making a large spread. If ETH price is, because they're not adjusting their price, at least that's from my understanding. But the amount of income they're earning, is it substantial enough to pay for their operation? That's a whole nother question.
Yeah.
Like if
I
they're
mean, what made me a little nervous was just seeing, like, after that announcement, I think it was the same day or the day after, 1.6 million LPT just, being unbonded like that. To me,
I'm
seemed like someone needed a lot of money, right?
but
And that was
was that unbonding an unbonding? But that wasn't a withdrawal of bond, right?
well, not yet. We got a few days left.
Right. So like we don't know why someone unbonds. Maybe they fat fingered and they're gonna rebond. Nobody knows. Or maybe they're switching
Well,
orchestrators and they don't know how. Or maybe they're switching cold wallets. Like it is really, you can't assume. And then on top of that, with that amount of LPT, there's not enough liquidity on the public market to even dump onto the public market. So it's going to be an OTC deal anyway. So it doesn't really bother me, that type of unbonding. Just in my
okay. It's all speculation from my side. It's just that was the biggest orchestrator on the network until the other day. That's all. So, like, I saw that, I was like, oh man, that's a lot of OPT, and they're no longer the biggest in terms of LPT staked.
Yeah, who knows? We'll know in pretty short order where that is going. Whether it just gets delegated to another orchestrator or moved to a different wallet and redelegates, and then whether that new wallet was an OTC deal or they were just key management. Like a lot of these companies are starting to learn more about key management. Maybe they went, hey, listen, our wallet is not as secure as we'd like it to be. We'd like to upgrade it to a multi-sig or some sort of some better management, and so they can, yeah, who knows, right? But it's interesting. Any other
Can I say
comment?
something?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I don't know how Livepeer is doing financially, but I know that in the last 5 years they've raised, what, I was just looking at this now, $51 million in fundraising. The last fundraising round they had was in January of last year for 20 million in their Series B. And since I'm also in the fundraising process for my startup, when you raise in a Series B, that's usually because financially you're pretty okay. Now, you still could be losing money, but you probably have enough runway to last you for like several years. Now, I could be completely wrong, but that, at least to me personally, shows some comfort saying, okay, you raised a Series B. In a Series B, that means you are somewhat financially okay, or at least that you have enough backing and enough like runway for several years. That's just my 2 cents on that regard.
What series would you say is a red flag?
Oh, like when you're fundraising too much, when does it become a red flag?
Well, okay. Well, you said a Series B is not a red flag. So, what is a red flag? What would you say? What have you seen in the past that you would say, "Hey, listen, this project is in trouble with what you're seeing."
Well, so I mean, I haven't been in the industry that long, but I'd say like if you go, so there's Series A, B, C, D, you can keep on going to infinity. If you get to something like Series E, that essentially means that you keep on like you're not generating enough revenue to ever be profitable, right? You're always relying on VC money. So I guess if you get to like if after Series C or D you still need to fundraise it, then that's where I would get concerned, because essentially it means that you can't figure out how to make your revenue bigger than your costs, and you're always relying on VC money to keep you afloat. So at that point, I would get concerned.
Very interesting. Yeah, like I said, I'm not concerned about Livepeer Inc.'s ability to sustain their development. I think they've got what they need in resources. And we're also at the bottom of the bear, which is exactly when you lay off people. That's exactly when you're supposed to cut the fat, stay lean, and get through the next couple of years while still continuing to build. So it's not surprising that when they raised their Series B, the token price went up, their staff like doubled or quadrupled. Like imagine your staff doubling or quadrupling in a year. Like you're hiring quickly, and you're being late. You're adding additional fat that maybe you don't need to, but you've got to move quickly because you have VC demands. The market's hot, right? Things matter. So yeah, like it doesn't. From my understanding, they trimmed about 50% of their staff in this layoff cut. So yeah, makes sense to me. Any other comments on that topic? Cool. I think we explored some interesting ideas around it, so that's excellent. I'll keep moving on with some topics or anything that people want to bring up. Ben, do you have any topics or questions?
Nope. The Zoop had my topics, so no topics from my side.
Very cool. Papa Bear, any topics or questions?
Nope, everything seems to be going pretty smoothly, at least from an Orchestrator standpoint. So I'm all good over here.
Right on. For Koonsman, any topics or questions?
I'll just do a quick plug for the community node again. Over a while I've been kind of taking a look at adoption, and there are around 45 to 50 active accounts set up to use the community node, but it looks like I've only got about 25 users like actively using the service. So I guess I just wanted to throw out there that it's here, it's available, it's free. Stability has been very good over the last couple months. I would love to hear from anybody if you've experienced otherwise, but just remember it's there and here for the orchestrators.
I like it. I will mention, I think a couple of those were mine. Livepeer Academy is no longer in the top 100, but I'm pretty sure I signed up with an account with that orchestrator, but I never used the endpoint. Or maybe I did for a little bit, but like definitely not lately. Or maybe it is active. I have no idea. It got kicked off the 100 list, but I think it's still actively trying to call reward every day, so I have no idea. I haven't even logged in to see what errors it's throwing, so maybe it is pulling your blocks. But yeah, no, it's been super reliable. I'm like super mega happy with it. So thank you for that, for Consumer.
Awesome. Yeah. No, thank you.
Right on. Varies. Do you have any topics or questions?
Hey all. No, nothing from my side. Maybe something about the big unbonding. So I've traced it back a bit, and it seems to originate from like probably an early investor, because like the tokens originally came from a vesting contract that was set up. Yeah, so I guess the Livepeer team knows who that is, but I couldn't find anything else than that.
Well, thank you for looking into that. I appreciate it.
The private eye, boy, we love it. Thank you, buyers.
Bada boom, bada bing. Yeah, well, it'll be very exciting the next couple days to see. We'll be watching it like a hawk. Cool. Thank you for that, Varies. Jason, would you like to provide a topic or question? Jason, are you with us? If you are trying to talk, I cannot hear you, so maybe just leave and rejoin. Frank, would you like to introduce the topic or question?
Hi everyone. No, I have no topics, and I am in the same situation like all other, and I have some question you try to answer this evening, so it's okay for me. Thanks.
Right on. Thanks for joining us. John, do you have any topics or questions? Mr. Elite Encoder? Are you with us, sir? We'll move on. We'll come back around to you. Flo, any topics or questions?
Hey, hello everyone. No, I don't have any topics for today. Just listening.
Very cool. Thanks for joining us. Dan, any topics or questions? Can I call you Dan?
No, all
Is that
good.
what it
Carry
is?
on. Carry on.
No worries. Chris, any topics or questions?
Not for me. All good.
Right on, right on. I do want to bring up one thing. I think John, hopefully he could speak about it, or Brad, down in the audience, could just speak about the router that they're working on. It's kind of cool what they're building. I haven't really looked into it much, but I'm in a bit of a chat group with them, and cool to see they're building out something that might help route requests for orchestrators. Also, some announcements. Lens profiles. I just got an email today saying they have completed all the lens profiles for my submission. So I know, Papa Bear, you were having issue claiming your lens handle. If you want to give that another try, let me know if you still have
I will try that again. I didn't realize it was a rolling thing, so maybe I just jumped the gun there.
I
So,
had
yeah,
no
I'll
idea
give
it was a rolling thing either. I don't know why it takes them so long. I thought it would just be like, because they never told me, and then all of a sudden Doge Node followed me on Lens, and I was like, wait, what? Like, oh, they must have handed them out. So then I just made a post, and then a bunch of people have got on, but then some people haven't, and I went, oh boy, maybe I jumped the gun with this. So, but I did get an official email saying that all those addresses have been whitelisted now. So,
I will give it a try after this call and see how it goes. Because yeah, I went through every address I have. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I sent my, the Papa Bear address, but maybe not. So I ran through like 10 addresses, and yeah, they were all like, nope, you're not cool enough to be part of Lens right now. So,
yeah,
but yeah, hopefully this time.
very cool. Yeah, I'm doubling down on Lens right now. I post on it more than Twitter or any other social profile. I use it on my phone, Orb, and you can pay for these campaigns where you give away Matic for people that mirror your post. So it's really interesting. So I've been doing that, and I'm at like 250 followers now. So it's really interesting, cool stuff you can do with Lens that you just.
You're at 418. Look at that.
Oh, is it that high now?
Yeah, famous.
Famous.
Does anyone have the link
It's awesome.
to the page where you check? I just closed it today. I gave up.
Here, let me.
I'm sure I can find it. If
I
anyone
just go to
has handy.
LensTube, and then you try to log in, and then it just asks you to verify. That's what I do.
Oh, that works. All right. Here it is. Claim lens. Here it is. Claim lens.
Oh, I'm at 418 followers now. Woo! But yeah,
if I get one, you'll have another one.
Yeah. Well,
how much Matic you gonna pay me if I follow you?
It's 0.2 Matic.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
No, you just have to mirror.
418
No.
times 0.2.
You just have to mirror my post. You don't even need to follow me.
I see.
The terms are right. The terms are right in the bottom of the post. It tells you, but you need a minimum of 8 followers in order to get the reward. So you got to get yourself up to 8 followers, and then if you
I think I'm at 7 or 6. I gotta check mine again.
Here, am I following you?
Mike Zuper.
Hold on, Mike. People to follow. Hold on. But anyway,
Yeah.
Mike Zuper, just all one word. There you are.
Mike
I'm not even
Zuper.lens,
Web3 Tinkerer. There we go. Followed.
That's me, baby.
I couldn't follow Ultima
Follow
Ratio
me.
for some reason. It was giving me an error. Same with Authority Null. Or is that?
Oh no, that's not good.
He wants
No, I'm
10
following
each for his
Authority.
follow.
Someone I couldn't follow somebody because they didn't set their follow module. I don't know what that means.
Video miner doesn't have.
Yeah,
it.
it's me, Titan, I think, but you can try again. I'm not sure if it's fixed right now.
Ultima Ratio. There we go. Follows you. Follow back. You can only follow if they have a follow module set. I still can't follow Ultima Ratio.
Okay, I don't know what is that. I will try to fix that, but I don't find any thing about that.
It says can only follow if they don't have a follow module set. So you have a follow module set. I don't know what that even means. It means
that's
I don't know
interesting.
also.
It probably means something like people can only follow you that you have a friend of a friend of or something. I don't know.
Well, no, the way Lens works is they have these things called modules. And the follow module is they could say, let's say you're a star and you want to have a certain NFT to follow me. Like you can gate your follow, you can make people pay to follow you. Like you can do all kinds of things to follow. So somehow you must have overrode the default follow module, which is basically anyone can follow anyone, right?
Right.
I was able to follow Ultima Ratio, but interestingly, I had to sign. So I had to there was like a pop-up in MetaMask, and I had to sign the transaction. It's not actually a transaction; it's just a signature. And for Authority, I was just able to click follow, and there was no signature request. So maybe that's why you can't follow Ultima Titan.
Yeah, because
that makes sense.
I'm on my mobile, so I can't sign any transactions because I don't have the keys on my phone. So yeah, if there's anything that I have to sign for, I'm not able to do it. And same with Everest Node. That's right, Jason. Jason, I can't follow you. That was the other person.
Oh shit. Okay. I think I followed you, but maybe I have to change some settings.
Yeah, I don't know. It just says you can only follow if they don't have a follow module set. But again,
you might have to go check your settings. You might require signatures to follow.
All right.
I'm sure it's something I'm doing, but yeah, it says my address is not eligible. So I don't know what I'm doing here. You just have to be on the Polygon network and then hit check address, right?
Yeah, I wonder. Here, let me check the list of addresses that I submitted, and then maybe
you don't have to do that now.
I'll do it
during the
after this, and we'll figure it out. But yeah, Waves, which is Wave 3S, they do this interesting marketing campaign where you give away Matic for people that mirror your post. Yeah, so there's really interesting dynamics that are available on Lens that just it's just new marketing stuff. It's really fascinating. Yeah, and I think it's worth us building our presence on Lens. It's a good platform, I think. And yeah, so those profiles mostly have been whitelisted. And one quick announcement too, I finally figured out how to mass deploy all the award NFTs for the participation awards for the Livepeer Orchestrator award ceremony. So all 100 orchestrators as of December, I think I picked 22nd. I don't know why. December 22nd. If you are an active orchestrator, you get the participation NFT. So
Cool.
you should have that in your wallet now. Took me a while to figure out how to like do that.
Sweet.
Cool. All right. Any other last comments, questions before we sign off?
I got a couple of small little things. So recently I've been playing around with Aragon, trying to get the L1 node up. So Titan, I followed a lot of the stuff you got. But I was able to get it all working in Docker, and I was testing my stack out, and I think Fort Koonsman's running it now. So I've been syncing for a few days. Hopefully we'll be able to run L1 nodes now for folks, and it'll be a lot easier than some of the prior stacks, especially with the E2 upgrade. So any folks interested, that's always a good thing.
Very cool. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, no, it took a bit of work. I had to build my own machine, but like I got it going, and it's been pretty stable ever since I put it up. So
Yeah, no doubt. It's pretty good. I'm running it in Docker, so like the stuff you were working on, it got me at least so I could see how it would run. But I ultimately wanted to run it in Docker, and their docs are really bad when it comes to running it in Docker. But
fair enough. Yeah. No, I
I
was
was
just
able to get it working, and we'll see if. No, go ahead.
I was just doing all mine in Linux, so I was like, I made a separate Linux box, locked it down, and yeah, away it goes. Tickety boo.
Are you actually running a validator node, or are you just doing that just to mess around?
Yeah, it's
Like, are you using that node for anything?
yeah, it's a validator node.
Nice. Do you have any of those concerns with slashing and all that? Like, I've read all the hysteria around it, but like, I mean, how much of a threat are you? Are you concerned with that?
Not really. So there's CoinCashew. If you follow that guide fully, like actual fully, so you do the course.
Yeah, I read through it all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you do the course, you do the case studies, you do like you really learn about what is going on, and like it was a bit of it was over my head, but I got like a lot of the concepts about asserting slots and epics and downtime and uptime and slashing, and
Hmm.
so no, the slashing doesn't worry me like at all, because you only get slashed like obviously if you're running a custom version of say Aragon and you are maliciously putting blocks, messing with
Sure.
transactions, then you're going to get slashed, like obviously,
Right.
right? So if you're not doing that and you're running like the open source version that is like stable, reliable, and audited, then like you really don't have to worry about slashing, because the only slashing that comes from just operating is from downtime. So you get
Yeah, I was
slashed.
going to ask you about the downtime part because I know that was a concern.
Yeah, but I realized you only get slashed the amount that you would get if you were getting the uptime reward. Like, so if you get,
Oh.
like, let's say you get, let's use one Gwei as an example. It's not one Gwei, but like, let's say every day every epic, which is 6 minutes, every epic you get one Gwei, right? And you get that for being having uptime, right? Making an
Hmm.
assertion, right? So you make your assertion every 6 minutes, and you get your one Gwei. If you miss an epic, you lose one Gwei, right? So the amount that you can lose is only the amount that you would have gained. So like if you're down for one day and then you're up for one day, you're break even, So if 29 days of the month you're up and 1 day you're down, it's almost negligible
You
the
get
amount.
paid 28 days.
Yeah, you get paid 28 days. So the only thing is if you're down for 15 days and you're up for 15 days, well, you've just spent a month, you spent 15 days being online for free because, so that's the slashing. So literally
I
if
guess the thing is, you really just got to keep your node up and you'll keep earning. But when you're down, it's not like I can't go negative. If I'm down for like 3 months and then I come back online for 1 day, it's going to take 3 months before I start earning again, right?
yeah, and that's if you're down for 3
Yeah,
months, right?
okay.
So and
Yeah, all right, I got it.
so yeah, so like what is the cost? It's not like you're not getting slashed like $100 every 6 minutes and you're like freaking out, pulling out
Well,
your
that's what
hair.
I was thinking. Yeah, I was like, man, that sounds crazy. Like, how could you, if you have an outage, man, you're going to be getting like hurt. Like, I was like, that sounds risky, but I was like, it can't be right. So,
No.
but that makes sense the way you're describing it.
And this is the deep dive I went into USB or battery backup things, because I was like, oh, uptime is really
Oh,
important. I need to get a
I
battery backup,
see.
and I realized, wait a minute, if you only get slashed like the power at where I'm located, like if it goes down once a year, maybe it'll go down for like 4 hours, and it'll be like that's about as bad as it gets, right?
I
I'm
see.
like, I don't need to spend $1,500 on a battery backup that's gonna apparently blow up my home because they're really terrible, a lot of them. I'm not even gonna earn that in any type of reward. So what I did instead was I made it so that the BIOS just automatically starts the machine on power up. And yes, I know it can create like corruption in the disk and blah blah blah, but like like I've been turning off and on computers accidentally my whole entire life, and I've still yet to burn out an SD or HD. Like, so I don't know. Like, I'm like, you know what? I'll risk it. Um, and so yeah, I just have mine plugged into the wall and it auto reboots on power outage. So um, yeah, and it's been on since day one. Funny enough, when I first started the node, um, I was I was waiting for my node to sync, but
Yeah.
I'd already submitted my deposit on chain, and it takes up to 2 days for your deposit to get accepted into the list of validators on the beacon node, because there's only
Mm-hmm.
there's a rate at which the validators can change. So we don't want people to be able to withdraw from being a validator or add to being a validator very quickly, because that can create. So there's a rate at which, so you have to get in line and wait till you get accepted, right? Well, I got
Mm-hmm.
accepted in like 1 day, but it took like 3 days, 4 days for my node to sync. I can't remember exactly how long. And I was panicking because I was getting, since my node started, I just started getting slashed since day one, and like I had
Oh,
like
snap.
I started out my node with like 3 days of slashing, and I was like, and so I put in like 32 ETH, um, and I was down to like 31.99, and I was like, no, like I'm going the wrong way. Um, so that was, and then I got it online, and 3 days later I was back to 32, and I was like, okay, this is a non-issue. I'll just let it go. So, um,
No, that's good. I'm glad to hear that, because you sit there, you're thinking like, you transferred 32 ETH, and I'm like, like, really? Am I going to do that? Do I really want to do that? But
yeah,
nah, it's good. But
yeah.
in terms of like profitability, though, it's earning decent, or
Yeah, I think my node at 32 ETH, it's doing like, I think like $5 a day in earnings, but that's just from assertions, so that's not producing any blocks. And then if you
okay.
produce a block, so my node has produced one block so far. The block earned, I don't, I can't remember if it was, I think it was $150. And then
Okay.
if you run MEV on top of that, I run Flashbots MEV, which is kind of controversial right now, but I just went with Flashbots because whatever. Then that earned another $150. So if I won a block, I think it was $300. So
the MEV boost doubles the block payout. That's crazy.
Yeah, so the MEV is totally dependent on what block you get and what transactions are in the block, right?
Oh, okay.
So you can make, I mean, if you get a good enough block, you can make like $500 in MEV, or you can get a block where there's just like no sandwich attacks available, nothing to arbitrage, and so then you're left with like $15, right?
I see.
So it all depends.
No, that's awesome. Sorry, go ahead.
So it all depends on what kind of blocks you get.
No, I was looking at, I'm running this Arbitrum node, and I had Infura backing it before the ETH2 merge, and then I was waiting to let the dust settle. Then I was going to go bring up an ETH1 node and replace my Infura. So that's the ultimate goal. But I started looking at the staking parts, and I'm looking at building a home rig, and FPK just built a rig, so he got me. I got the little bug to build a rig, so I'm thinking I might do that. Just to, I've already got this ETH1 stuff fresh in my head. I might as well put the system to use while I have the knowledge.
Yeah, I would.
Myers, you're running some stuff too, right? You're running ETH nodes. Are you running a validator as well, Myers? Do we
yeah, I'm running some validators as well. Like since the beginning, really. Like I was part of like the Genesis. And
badass.
Yeah, it's just like it's so interesting. It like keeps me up to date with the development and like everything that's happening around it. And I would say like with the MEV boost, the APR is around like 7% currently. So that's pretty decent, I'd say.
Yeah, that is really good. 7%.
Maybe like some more notes on slashing. It can be more severe, the slashing, if you're running a majority client. For example, if you're running Geth and like the new Geth version has a bug, and then like 40 or 50% of the network crashes and the chain can't finalize again, and then the penalties, the slashing penalties would be more extreme. So that's why you're encouraged to run minority clients. So
Aragon, baby, I love it.
Yeah, Aragon, I'm not. Why did you choose Aragon? Because as far
I was
as
just
I understand
looking at the speed and the storage. Like the syncing speed compared to Geth was significantly faster, and the storage requirements were a lot less when not running the full node. So, or sorry, the archive node. The archive node, I mean, that's pretty hefty regardless, but it was significantly different in speed and storage requirements compared to Geth, and that's why I really chose it. And it is a minority client, so that's a good thing.
For the archive node, it makes sense. Like that's like the go-to client for archive nodes. But for a production, like a staking machine, I probably wouldn't choose Aragon because it's still like in alpha or like a tech preview, I think they're calling it. So they can't guarantee that like you have to resync with a future update or stuff like that. So I would go with either Nethermind, Besu, or Besu.
Yeah, those
probably
were the
that.
two I looked at, but both of those I looked at. Interesting.
I'm running both and also Geth and everything seems like fine. And also you need like, those are execution clients, right? So you also need additionally to that, you'll need a consensus client.
What do you use for consensus, Varies?
I'm using Lighthouse.
Yeah, I'm using Prism.
Yeah, that's what I have.
I'm using Aragon and Prism. So
I was recently able to set up my L1 too. I've got Nimbus and Geth running together. So Nimbus is actually in DigitalOcean, and then I've got Geth and Arbitrum on a dedicated box locally. So I noticed that the beacon node pulls a lot of network traffic. What if anyone else had issues with that?
Yes, it does. I got kicked off of the Hetzner for running it there. When I started, I was getting a network abuse policy alerts, and they finally like blocked my IP, and I had to tweak some things and get it back up. But yeah, that happened to be first too.
Yeah, for most of them, you can like limit your peers. So they have like a flag where you can set max peers to something
Yeah.
like 20 or so. Because for some, the default is like 100, which is totally over the top. And with like 20, you get like 1/5 of the traffic.
Yeah, it was that was the main setting to get it to behave.
Yeah, I heard a lot about Nimbus as a very efficient beacon node, but I might want to try Aragon out because that's more of an efficient execution client.
Well, just think about what buyers are saying. Depending on your, if you're going to be staking, you might want to reconsider. Yeah, like I'm not using that. I was looking at staking, but I really wanted to make sure my ARB node had, a nice, comfortable place to sit with Aragon to sync up for the blocks. Like that's really my focus. Cool.
And always keeping it all up to date. I found the Docker setup makes it so much easier, just to pull those updates and then watch the repo, like the different GitHub repos for like Nimbus or Geth or Aragon. Whenever they push a release, you just get an email and then update it that day or so.
I haven't updated my Aragon in forever because I just haven't bothered to go in. Probably not a good thing.
Well, the binary side just makes it a little harder. It's just make sure you don't want to fall too far behind because you could definitely run into some migration issues. So you want to, if you definitely want to keep that staking going, you want to stay current.
Yeah, probably should do that.
We've had
anyway, sorry.
Yeah, but I'm just cowboying it. I don't know. I'm main chain first, right? I put in my deposit whether I even got the machine ready for it. I was just like, let's do it.
Hey, dude, I'm with you on that. But the thing that happened, maybe a month or so ago, Arbitrum released an update and they didn't notify anybody. And I had an outage to my RPC services, and I looked, and literally, like, there was no warning from Arbitrum. Like, if you didn't upgrade, your node became offline. Like, it just took you offline. I was like, wow. And I went in and updated the nodes quickly, but it was like, geez, like, I mean, there was some Discord buried in there with all the noise they had that said, that was happening, but I obviously missed it. So, I would hate to see that happen to your Aragon node.
Yeah, I was looking at setting up a Polygon node too, but I don't think it's actually possible. So that was. But Nico says the Pocket network is a good place to set up endpoints and join that network. I don't know if anyone has heard.
Yeah, I read about Pocket too. I haven't set it up. Well, I've been talking recently about Streamer, right? Streamer.network, and they have a node set up, and I know quite a few of the guys I've been, rolling with on Discord are setting up nodes and running them. So it's a small little thing, but I think, from where we started, our nodes have doubled the value in terms of where they started. So pretty cool just to have an extra node running on compute you already have.
Bada boom, bada bing. Cool. Cool. Any other topics? I think for the most part we've covered lots of different topics, which is great. VOD, we covered some Livepeer, some road mapping, if you will, for the future. We got large undelegated stake we're curious about. We've got different clients and protocols we're running nodes on, so that's great. Mostly Ethereum, which is like probably the ethos of this network as well, right? We're all ETH people in a way, if you will. I don't know. Maybe not all of us, but yeah, running ETH nodes is very cool and very fun. And we've got the Shanghai upgrade coming soon, I believe. So being able to withdraw deposits is going to be is quite a hot topic for the ETH community. So curious to see what happens there. I think that's bullish for ETH in general, but I think that's good. Yeah. Any other comments before we sign off?
As soon as they as soon as they enable withdrawals on ETH2, I'm depositing all of my ETH1 into ETH2. Literally, like, because as long as I know I can get it out, it's liquid. Why would you have ETH1 then, right?
Yeah, well, that's kind of what I was thinking. Was a lot of the hesitation was, when the beacon chain first came out, I didn't spin up a ETH2 node because I was like, this is way too far away. Like I was like nervous about it. And then after the literally like a week after ETH2 launched, I went, oh, okay, it's here. Okay, I believe it. So I spun up a node. And
When
then
they announced it years ago, I moved a bunch of ETH in just to be there, just to hold it, to make sure that the network was going to happen, because I thought it was a great idea. So I've been earning interest, but I haven't been able to withdraw. So they're saying end of March when that comes. So that'll be a great day.
there you go. Cool. All right. Well, we'll end it. Oh, hey, we got Shan here. Shan, how you doing? Would you like to introduce yourself and a topic?
Hey.
Hey everyone. It's been a minute. So happy to see so many familiar profile pictures here. I was gonna say faces, not really faces. I'm Shannon. I'm head of ecosystem growth on the Livepeer core team. And sorry I couldn't hop in earlier, but I just wanted to say hey. I know there was a big announcement last week from the core team. Just wanted to pop in and say I'm still here. I still think this is the best community in Web3. And we haven't forgotten about you guys. And appreciate everyone from the Orchestrator community chipping in a little bit extra as we close a lot of missing gaps right now. We unfortunately had to let go of the whole marketing team. So yeah, those familiar faces aren't here at the moment, but you guys are still a number one priority for us and making sure you guys are happy. And I personally just am really grateful for you all just putting so much into the project. That's it. It's pretty much all I wanted to say. I just really meant to be here earlier.
Thanks for checking in. Good to hear from you.
Yeah, great to have you around, Shen. And we had a big discussion about that about 20 minutes ago. We had our own, interpretations of it. So it was very cool. And if you want to go back and listen to that, it's probably going to be an hour and 10 minutes into the conversation.
Oh, cool. Are these recorded?
Yeah.
Oh my God, amazing. Cool.
Yeah, this one will be
a little
recorded.
Bit of orc therapy. We had a little bit of orc therapy earlier. We're all good now. We're all smiling and back on the focus.
Yeah. Anything I can take back to Doug and Eric and co. I'll listen to the recording, but if there's any top line feedback you guys want me to share, I'm happy to.
Well, I think the big thing was just making sure the vision's clear, the strategy's clear, right? Like we understand bear markets and burn rates and all the other stuff we got into, but I think it's really just making sure we understand the commitment and the focus is there. And as long as that's there, I think folks will continue to fight and work through whatever's going on.
Totally. Yeah, that's the main focus right now is getting that strategy clear, and I'm really excited for us to share that out for sure. I mean, growing demand on the network is the number one goal.
Absolutely.
How
right.
I think we can be clear and how we're doing that. And that's something I've personally been advocating for is I think we have an opportunity now as we're leaner to be even sharper and taking some bets and not just taking any bets, but how can we increase our odds, I think, finding a killer breakout app in Web3, that's going to take a bit of time. So how do we increase the chances that the network's going to have, one of those killer use cases?
Yeah, I agree. And I think for a long time we've talked about, additional broadcasters on the network. And I know with Xenon and some of the other work that they're doing there, and we're definitely trying to get additional broadcasting capability out there. So the more we have on the demand side, handling the customers who want to actually push those RTMP streams, I think getting focuses there would be huge for all parties.
Definitely. Yeah, and
Yeah, and thank you
decentralization, I
for.
think, becomes even more. Oh, did I interrupt someone? Ben?
No, I was gonna say thank you so much for coming on and letting us know. It definitely helps, having some context with everything that happened.
Yeah, I think the biggest, I mean, we had a really big marketing team. There are like, I think 8 people on the marketing team. And I think, part of it is like getting back to organic marketing. And like, there's so much happening in the community. Like you guys, do so much. There's a lot that can happen when we get back to like taking a decentralized approach to demand generation, like you mentioned, with broadcasting nodes. Like, I think there's a lot we can just reach into and like reach out to the network more, as it were, to like, generate more demand. And I think that's part of like what the intention with this like internal reorg is as well, is like this actually like puts our attention as a core team like back out to the network more. That's my take on it. That's like not a talking point for me.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
I heard it was about 50% of the Livepeer Inc. team that was laid off. Is that number about right?
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
Yeah. There we go. Cool. Yeah, no, we discussed it
But
quite a bit.
like the essential people are still here. Like, the people who like keep this thing functioning, and the technical people, like none of the people who are critical to our technology and to like the protocol and the foundational assets and killer features that we have that make us unique are gone, and I think that's like the most important thing for the community to know, is like there's been no change there.
Yeah, no, exactly. So no, I've talked to a few of them that have moved on, and yeah, they have actually pretty bright outlooks for what they're doing next. So it's very interesting to see them move on already to their new stuff. So yeah, it's cool. All right. Oh, and Shan, one last thing. Quick update with Vancouver. How did that go?
Oh my gosh. Sad you couldn't make it, but
Yeah.
it was amazing. And we'll hopefully have some socials and a blog post on that next week. But it was, from my perspective, I've done a lot of hackathons like on my own and with Livepeer over the last 2 years. This was like one of the highest caliber ones, because it was all university students and like computer science students from the University of British Columbia, and like a lot of computer science students who are also studying business. So it was just, and like computer science who are like studying design. So I felt it was like this really interesting mix of just brilliant people with the most like ingenuity I've seen in a like 48-hour hackathon. We had some really incredible hacks with like AI and machine learning. Someone like built a crazy hook for Unity with Livepeer. So I'm really excited to share those out. And I think it was a great opportunity for Livepeer as title sponsor for this hackathon, which NW Hacks is the largest hackathon in the Pacific Northwest, and there were 800 hackers, and as title sponsor, like Livepeer was top of mind for everyone. I got to give a keynote on, why hacking in Web3 is better than hacking in Web2, and why Livepeer is a great place to get started with hacking in Web3, and just had a lot of students come up to me saying like, this is the first time I've, heard someone explain Web3, or like the first time I heard about Web3. So I think it's always great when Livepeer can have those opportunities to like be people's first entry point into Web3 who want to start building. In terms of numbers, it was like there were I think we had like 30% of project submissions, which is really high. Like normally when Livepeer does like ETH global hackathons, like or like generic ETH hackathons, where it's like a lot of DeFi projects and there are a lot of sponsors, like we tend to get like a much lower project share, like somewhere around like 10%. So yeah, to be upwards of like 35% of projects, that was really good for us.
Yeah, absolutely. That's actually really high. When I was at ETH Global, we like this last one, I think we were under 10%. I think it was like 8%.
Yeah, it's tough when like when it's a generic like Web3 hackathon and like there are lots of other competing themes. The other hackathon that we just did, which we'll be sharing out on social later, I really hoped to get all these socials out last week, but it didn't happen. For obvious reasons. But next video, I don't know if that made its way into the community, just like the fact that that was happening, but that was a Livepeer led online hackathon that ended up being, I think, almost 2 months. And so literally every project that submitted for next video was a Livepeer integration, and we had 13 different Web3 technologies partner with us on the hackathon. So it was really cool to see Livepeer and video applications, like the tech stack that could be used with those. So yeah, we had 77 projects submit. D-Storage, we had Arweave, IPFS, we had Lens, we had Lit Protocol, we had EPNS, we had XMTP, we had, who else do we have?
Push protocol, maybe?
NFT4, yeah, Push, yeah, EPNS Push, yeah.
I was signed
So
up
we had
for it,
fun.
but I never got a team together. And then when I
Oh no,
asked for a recording of the ceremony to see who won, like no one ever gave me a link. And I was like,
really?
so I don't know if you have a link to that.
Oh, good to know. Yeah, we'll be doing a tweet out later this week announcing who the winners were. And I'm hopeful in like a couple weeks we'll also do like a blog and some content around the Web3 tech stack that was used for next video, because it was just so cool to see, yeah, the different like recipes of different Web3 tech people put in their stack for Livepeer applications.
Very cool.
But yeah, generally the like XMTP, they had a really good hackathon. So I like if you guys are interested in like kind of where the Web3 social app space is going, I think XMTP is one of the coolest tools out there right now, because chat is just so critical for all social applications, and chat and video are really cool together. Yeah, actually, we retweeted their tweet on Friday from the Livepeer account. They did a really nice write up and a blog on the hackathon and social video apps using chat.
Very cool. I like it. I like it a lot. Well, sounds like
I like you all a lot.
well, we're just
Yeah, I miss being in these spaces. No, thank you so much for keeping these going. It's like
yeah,
such a nice constant in the community.
yeah. Well, I don't know. I started it about a year and a bit ago, a year and a couple months. And I know Papa Bear was there, and it was just like a hangout in the water cooler chat. And it's now grown into this weekly, pretty cool place where we get to talk about all things Livepeer, or even not Livepeer related. We were talking about ETH validator nodes like just before you came. So, you know, we're all crypto interested and crypto curious, if you will. And yeah, so it's a good place to hang out, and I'm just glad everyone comes and we have good conversations. So, and it's really interesting how during the bear market, people these water cooler chats have kept growing in size. Maybe not like exponentially growing, but like they are growing, which is like really cool to see in a bear market, because all the chat groups that I'm in where I just talk about price, like they are dead. Like they're ghosted. Like it's like 13 people in them and nobody's talking, right? Like all the retail casual investors have left the space. They have like completely checked out. And yet here we are at 13 people on stage, 7 people in the audience for 2 hours having a conversation. So yeah, no, I'm impressed with the people that keep coming back and contribute. So I look forward to these every week. So I'm glad for the people that do come. It makes it pretty fun.
Awesome. Well, appreciate you. Appreciate everyone who shows up.
Right on, right on. Cool. All right, everyone. Well, yeah, we've been at this for an hour and 55 minutes. If you want to see the recording, please head over to the TitanNode YouTube. I've been debating whether I should post these on LensTube as well. So, yeah, just been trying to figure that out. If where I want to post these is the medium to stay. I think it would make sense to post it on LensTube. So I might transition entirely to there. And you know what? Maybe I'll be just completely abandoning Web 2. Like screw YouTube, screw Twitter. It's all about LensTube and Orb. You know. So
Our
Well,
authority
now's the
Null and I
moment.
posted the last Portainer grant that we submitted. We did our video and we posted it on LensTube. So collect it up.
cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to get on Orb right now, but having some weird issues. But that's a me problem.
Yeah, Orb is like a great app for anyone who wants to use Lens. And if you want to boost up your followers, right now the best bang for your buck is the Wave 3S app. You can spend like 10 Matic and you'll probably get yourself like 50 or 100 organic followers. And it's not like gamey, it's like still so new. You literally just make a post saying, new here, hey, like just give me a follow, and people are like, welcome. Like it's like everyone's just so excited. So yeah, I'd recommend that, just getting just a few good followers. But yeah,
Awesome.
so because yeah, I spent 200 Matic. I figured a $200 budget, like $250 budget for just like marketing, I guess. And I'm 3 days into the campaign. It's not even 30% bought up, so I've only spent like 60 Matic, and I'm at 450 followers or 418. And I think less than half of those are bots, so that's good. I think that's a good ratio.
Very nice.
So, anyway, we'll end it there. Thanks, Shan, for coming. Thanks, everyone, for stopping by. And, of course, big thanks to Thom for doing the Q&A session about VOD. Very bullish on VOD and the new services offered by Livepeer. Very, very cool. Yeah, we will be here next week. So come join us then. In the meantime, yeah, keep building. And we will see you next week. Cheers.
Be
Thanks,
well.
everyone.
So,
Cheers.
bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys. Thank you.